Hiya love! So, welcome to Theatre Review number 6. Go and get your brew and let's have a chat. So today I'm going to be reviewing a London theatre company's production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, which was performed at the Bridge Theatre in London. It's available until the 2nd of July on the National Theatre's YouTube channel, and I would strongly recommend that you give it a watch, especially if you're into Shakespeare. Now, this play is Shakespeare's most famous romantic comedy. It's full of laughs, it's full of lots of dynamic relationships, and generally it's a lot of fun to watch, and this production delivered just that. But there were a lot of moments for me where I questioned the choices that had been made, both staging wise and from a directorial point of view. Let's go into it a little bit. So the cast was full of really talented people, for want of a more sophisticated phrase, really. You had people like Gwendolyn Christie, who was in Game of Thrones. You had Oliver Chris, who has done a whole plethora of things with the National Theatre. He's very good at Shakespeare. Then you had Hamed Animashawn, who was in Barbershop Chronicles, and I remember watching him just a few weeks ago in that. He, for me personally, was probably the best actor in it. Just in terms of my taste and my preference, I think the way he delivered it was it was very modern, and yet he adhered to the text completely. He basically just made it his own, and he wasn't afraid to do that, and I really, really admired him for that. Then you had David Morse, who played Puck, one of my favourite Shakespearean characters. If I ever got a chance to play Puck, I'd be so happy. I thought he was great, actually. I've seen him in a play at the Royal Exchange, actually, in Manchester, and he's got a very unique stage presence. I feel like he was very adventurous with how he played Puck. I think because of the amount of aerial work that was involved in the show, they incorporated that into his character's movement, and I kind of liked that. I think it gave Puck an even greater sense of playfulness, and that worked. But there were times when the use of aerial silks and general sort of gymnastic kind of things became a bit too much. I think it sometimes took away from the action. I liked the little ad-libs he threw in every now and again. I thought that was very, very nice. He brought it right up to date. It was very organic, the way he played it. Aerial silks were used throughout the performance, and I thought it was a very nice use of the space, especially when it came to Titania being present but not necessarily being on the stage area. She would be sort of hanging. That was lovely. But in terms of the character Puck, I didn't feel like it was always as necessary as they made it. But saying that, I feel like he did play it very, very well. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Generally, I think I feel like Hamed was probably the best actor all round in it, but Oliver Chris and his relationship was fantastic. They had a wonderful chemistry, and because Hamed was playing Bottom and you had Oliver Chris playing Oberon, it's really important that they have this sort of fearless relationship at several points during the play. So I really do think that they had that, and I was very happy to watch their relationship blossom on the screen. Gwendolyn Christie had a gorgeous amount of grace. Oh my goodness. She really, really understood that part. And I adore that woman anyway. I think she's a beautiful actress, and yeah, I think it was very well cast. Generally speaking, I think the production, as I said before, was really, really fun. There was lots to enjoy about it. There was lots of modern music in there, you know, modern references, a little bit of ad-libbing here and there, like I said, not just from Puck but from others as well. A big no-no from me was during the scene where you have Lysander, Demetrius, Helena and Hermia, and they're sort of all grappling with each other. One of the girls did actually swear during ad-lib, and that was a big no-no for me. I'm absolutely fine with you ad-libbing, you know, in the moments where you aren't speaking Shakespearean text. I'm fine with that. But what I did not like was the fact that it suddenly it turned her character into something a little bit more grotesque in a way, because of the use of bad language. And in some ways, I think, was that accidental? You know, did that mean to slip out? But then part of me thinks, no, actually, I think that was a choice that was made by the actor and by the director. And for me personally, I did not like it. I didn't think it was necessary for that character to swear. And if you are going to insult someone in Shakespeare, do it in Shakespeare. Call them like an idle-headed flapdragon or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh God, you don't need to swear. Anyway, yeah, I think there were times as well where the fairies were constantly like twirling around, and I was like, yeah, I know you're fairies, I know that's what you're meant to do, but there's a time to stop and there's a time to listen to what's being said on the stage. There was so much going on at times that you just didn't know where to look. And you know, the idea is that the audience follow the action around on foot. So those that aren't sat up in the circle follow the action on stage level on foot. Now that to me is what I would call promenade theatre. But what I watched was not promenade theatre. It was immersive, where the action is sort of taking place amongst the audience, but they don't actually sort of move around to watch it. You know, they might sort of turn their head, but they don't follow the actors around. So I feel like there was a bit of confusion there. That was something that it really bothered me, because it would have worked in a promenade, you know, style, but they didn't utilise that. Instead, they had, you know, bits of the stage coming up every now and again. You had people up in the air, this, that and the other. And if anything, I think it would have been quite uncomfortable for the groundlings, as it were, because you're constantly having to move around and, you know, you don't know where the next bit of action is going to be. And that is why you need... Oh, there's a car. And that is why you need the actors leading the audience around, so then they know where to look. That's, you know, that's what they were... Well, that's what it seemed like they were aiming for. And I feel like there was just something missed. It was very tech heavy. And I understand that they wanted to make the theatre a forest. They wanted to make it that kind of immersive. And I love that. I love that ambitious nature that they took on to achieve this production. A very, very good production too. But yeah, I just felt like there were moments where it was like, oh my God, this is tiring to watch, even in like scene transitions. And that's not how it should be. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what the play is about, I'm just going to read you the brief description on the National Theatre's website. It was very well explained, so I figured I might as well read it to you so you have a little bit more understanding of the play. A feuding fairy king and queen of the forest cross paths with 4 runaway lovers and a troupe of actors trying to rehearse a play. As their dispute grows, the magical royal couple meddle with mortal lives, leading to love triangles, mistaken identities and transformations, with hilarious but dark consequences. Ooh. I do feel like the 4 actors that I mentioned were probably the better actors in the production, and that's not me saying that the others were terrible, not at all. I think it was the way I think it was the way it was directed. You know, I understand that obviously not all of the choices will have been made by the director. Some of them will be contributed to the production by the actors. But, you know, when it comes down to it, it's the director that makes the final choice. I just think there needed to be a little bit more sort of moments of stillness. Even in a romantic comedy, even in a play that is so fast-paced, you can still find those moments of clarity and stillness, and if anything, it'll just add to the humour. But that's just my opinion. It was a very, very interesting production. I did enjoy watching it. I also found at times I was getting very frustrated, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. I thought the actors' understanding of the text generally across the board was brilliant. I thought the troupe of actors in the play, brilliant, hilariously funny. And yeah, overall, I think it was a lot of fun. Was it the best production of A Midsummer Night's Dream I'd ever seen? No. But I still enjoyed it. So yeah, for that reason, I would be interested to hear your thoughts if you decided to watch it as well. But yeah, the link to the production is just below, so you can check it out until the 2nd of July. I would, to be honest, make the most of it. The National Theatre aren't going to be streaming free shows for much longer, so it's really important that you utilise the shows that go up in the next couple of weeks. Make sure you watch them. Get your fix of theatre whilst you still can. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'd love to know your thoughts if you decide to watch it. But have a gorgeous day, guys. I hope you enjoy whatever you decide to do today. And if you have a spare few minutes, why not check out one of my other theatre reviews? I'm sure I'll be posting another one very soon. Bye!